Thank you so much, Leo Matthew, for your introduction. And thank you to Zone Chair Avaloy for the invitation to join you here today. Distinguished Lions at the virtual head table, fellow Lions, Leos, and guests. All I have to say is wow to start. I am inspired by the Lion and Leo Club activities you reported. And I would particularly like to thank you for the Lions service in sponsoring and mentoring Leo Club members. Leo Matthews shared as part of my bio my involvement in Lions at a very young age, but my dad's Lions Club did not have a Leo Club, and I wasn't familiar with that at the time. So I was just the tag-along kid for many years until I was old enough to join their Lions Club. I also loved the Voices in Leadership video. Thank you to all of those who contributed your thoughts to that, as well as the talented producer. There were so many great points, and I think that you'll see they nicely complement what I'd like to share with you today. For some of you, I'd like you to perhaps expand your thinking of what it means to be a leader. We all think of certain positions as leaders. And while we need dedicated Lions to step up and hold positions of leadership, such as project committee chairs, club officers, district committee chairs or officers, and beyond, being a leader is not limited to those people who hold positions only. It's a responsibility that we all share as members. A definition for leadership that I found particularly effective, and I wish I could remember the source for proper attribution, is intentionally using my influence for a worthwhile cause. Leadership is intentionally using my influence for a worthwhile cause. Now, everyone who is willing has the potential to lead and influence others in certain areas. And what's great is that you get to decide what is worthwhile. This makes leadership less about your position and more about your disposition. One of my favorite books is by Mark Sanborn. You don't need a title to be a leader. And the subtitle is How Anyone, Anywhere Can Make a Positive Difference. It is a short read with actionable tips, and I highly recommend it for anyone who's interested in expanding your influence and becoming a better leader. In today's society, everyone will need leadership skills. And honestly, our society needs you to develop those skills to improve your influence, inspiration, and impact to the benefit of that worthy cause that you've identified. I have strategies in 4 key areas that spell out lead that will help to do just that, with or without a title. First is learning. Effective leaders have a commitment to learning. They want to improve themselves and their organizations. So look for opportunities to learn, to expand your knowledge, your experience, and your network. Lionism offers so many learning opportunities, both online and in person, and they're just waiting for you to take advantage of them. Leaders don't have all the answers, and as members, we shouldn't expect them to. This pandemic has been a great reminder of that. Company, government, and Lions leaders are all going through this for the first time. How many times over the last 2 years have we heard the saying, quote, "These are unprecedented times"? There really was no precedent for what to do in a pandemic and how things needed to change from our meetings, our club activities, and perhaps other interactions. But there are also many other day-to-day situations of uncertainty that our positional leaders face. As members, how can we use our influence with those uncertainties that they're facing? Well, one of the first things that come to mind, and Zone Chair Avaloy mentioned this earlier in her initial remarks, is that we can be supportive instead of critical of our positional leaders and the decisions that they make. Unfortunately, over the years, I've seen a lot of petty, unconstructive criticism of club and district leaders that really do not serve the organization or anyone. It might temporarily bolster the ego of the person speaking, but it isn't improving their influence among others. We can do better by serving from the heart with kindness. We can also be a resource to others. We can connect people to one another who may have information or perspectives to help with some of those uncertainties and challenges that our leaders face. Developing and growing as a leader is a journey. We are all works in progress. I don't think this is a position where you can say you get there, even if you do have a higher positional leadership role. So sometimes I think a little grace, empathy, and compassion for others can go a long way in expanding your own personal influence. The second topic, the E, is execution. Sometimes those of us who love to learn could just keep looking and learning rather than doing something with what we've learned. And you know, there's no benefit to our worthwhile cause if we don't act on or implement what we learn. Henry Ford is credited with saying, you can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. We're judged by what we do. A leader takes the initiative to get things done, to help make good things happen for other people and for the organization as a whole. And again, that doesn't take a title, particularly if we're less concerned with who gets the credit and we're more concerned with getting those things done. I'll say my experience in taking action has opened up many new and different opportunities that I could not have predicted when I took that first step. So don't worry about having the whole path laid out, because things are likely to change. And at least in my experience, they've often been better than what I could have imagined when I started out. The A in the LEAD framework is for attitude. This is a huge topic that probably has the greatest impact on your influence, whether you're in a position of leadership or not. There's so much that I've learned and observed about our attitude's impact on others, and I only have time to share a few highlights of those with you here today. Your attitude is your choice. Sometimes in the midst of disappointment or struggle, we might forget this. Your reactions or attitude about events that are either within or some of those events that occur that are outside your control can lift up or tear down a team, particularly when it comes to volunteer Lions and Leos. Please choose to lift up and not tear down others. Your attitude affects the type of label you would choose to put on others. Again, build people up and encourage them. A lot of people don't have faith in themselves, but they can tell when someone else has faith in them. And most people will do anything to live up to your faith in them. This reminds me of a quote that means a lot to me from the German writer Johann Wolfgang Goethe. He said, "Treat a man as he is, and he will remain as he is. Treat a man as he can and should be, and he will become as he can and should be. The way you see people is the way you treat them, and the way you treat them is what they become." And there are a lot of fascinating research studies, particularly done through schools and the educational system, about this very topic. But the bottom line is that the expectations that you have for other people are very powerful. And when you communicate the expectations that you have for others, You create a driving force that moves them in the direction of your expectations. So I'd like for you to take a moment to think about the influence that you have on others, again, regardless of position, but through your expectations of them. Family members, friends, coworkers, fellow Lions or Leos. Is your behavior communicating your belief in them and their abilities? Are you choosing to build them up, or are your expectations low? This shouldn't come as a surprise, but your attitude will also determine the quality of your relationships and the type of people who are attracted to you. Enthusiasm, optimism, and passion attract other like-minded people. Internationally recognized leadership expert John C. Maxwell identified 5 characteristics of relationships. And before I share them with you, I'd like for you to think about the relationship that you have with either a close family member or a close friend and how they might fit these characteristics. Respect between one another. Having shared experiences. Trust. Reciprocity, and mutual enjoyment. So there's characteristics, become a little more obvious with the people who are close to us. But think about how you might be able to expand your relationships and how you can foster and develop those characteristics with others within your committees, your clubs. Again, whether you're in a leadership position or not, those characteristics can impact the influence that you have as a leader. You can also expand your influence by mentoring others. And like leadership, this is an area where you do not need to have a title to be a mentor. Every one of you can be a mentor to new members, to up-and-coming leaders, or to just someone who you can see that needs a little bit of support or help. In fact, I think that the people who are just a couple steps ahead of another person make the best mentors, because they remember the questions and challenges that they had and what they wish they knew at the time in order to help someone who's in a similar situation now. Lions Clubs International has a formal mentoring program, and there are some really great resources online that I encourage you to check out that they have available. But also, again, consider the value of informal mentors. Sorry, my canine kid in the back is, even through the closed door, is participating in our Zoom meeting. Hopefully it's not too loud for you. So here are some ways that you might be able to have an informal or be an informal mentor. Is there someone that you can show, or that you can show, or that can show you how to use Instagram more effectively, as an example? How about reporting activities in My Lion? Again, think of those opportunities where you can mentor other people or get mentoring from others who are just that step ahead. There are so many opportunities to have a positive influence through informal mentoring. One of my personal interests is in first-time attendees at an event. I go out of my way. I seek out anyone that I can tell, whether it's designated or not, that they're a first-time attendee, just to be welcoming, encouraging, and answer questions that they have. Because it takes a big step of courage for a lot of people to go to an event that they may not know what they're expecting for that first time. And so I want to help them have a good experience so that they come back. And that's just one of many ways, but that's one that almost any case when I'm at an event, that I pause to look for and seek out the people who have not been there and done that before. The final topic, the D in my theme, is for dreaming. And I'm taking a little bit of liberty here to combine dreaming and vision. And you're just kind of going back to your attitude a little bit. Your attitude is going to affect your perspective of what's possible. And from a leadership perspective, dreams are everything. They're just so powerful. They can help give you direction or purpose. They can increase your potential, but also your ability to reach your potential. Dreams can help you prioritize. I mean, let's face it, we have a lot of things going on. There's a lot of pools for our time and opportunities to contribute. And so your dream can serve as a sort of compass for where to focus your time, energy, or other resources. And a dream really helps to predict your future. Walt Disney said, if you can dream it, you can do it. And practically every organization or movement begins with a dream or a vision that invented that future. Melvin Jones had a vision, as do practically all effective leaders. Again, they're really what you see as possible for the future. What is the impact that you want to have? And I'm going to go back to, we've identified, if you've identified that worthy cause that you want to influence, think about the impact that you can have on that worthy cause. Vision statements are written in the present tense as if they're true today, and they should be inspiring. I've got a couple examples that I would like to share with you. From the Starship Enterprise. You all know, many of you should know this one, if not all of you, to explore new worlds, discover new civilizations, seek out new life forms, and to boldly go where no one has gone before. Now that's inspiring and it's memorable. Another vision, this one comes from Microsoft, a personal computer on every desktop in every home. Now that vision might not sound too astounding today, but what amazes me is that Bill Gates had this vision back in 1975. Now, I know some of you on here were not alive in 1975, but those of you that were, I'd like you to think about what your lifestyle was then. My home didn't even have our first microwave or VCR at that point. And then I realized as I was refreshing my thoughts that many of you might not even know what a VCR is because they're now obsolete, that it has been that long ago. So let's move a little bit closer to home for this last example. Lions Clubs International. To be the global leader in community and humanitarian service. To be the global leader in community and humanitarian service. Does that inspire you? Are we there yet? And if you think we're there, can we get there and stay there? That's a vision that's going to take all of us. And I'll say, unfortunately, in today's busy society, most of us don't take the time to think about and reflect upon what we want or what the possibilities could be. Again, I ask you to think about your worthwhile cause. As leaders, we need to take the time to reflect and have a vision for our sphere of influence. No matter what that is, that sphere of influence may be your district, it could be your club, it might be a specific project that you're associated with, and it might just be even yourself and what your vision is for you and your role. When we use the term vision, we tend to think of King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech, or John F. Kennedy proclaiming in 1961 that the United States would land a man on the moon by the end of the decade. Those were grand visions, for sure. But consider the thoughts of Margaret Mead, who said, "Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Research the roots of nearly any movement or cause that is important to you, and I feel pretty sure that you're going to find this to be the case. Small groups of passionate, committed people are changing the world. So how will you, through the words of the great humanitarian Mahatma Gandhi, be the change that you want to see in the world? There you have it. Keep in mind, lead, learn, execute, attitude, and dream. I should rephrase that. Keep in mind learned leadership, attitude, and dream as you lead to help you improve your influence, inspiration, and impact. I will close with perhaps my all-time favorite quotation from United States President Woodrow Wilson. And before I do that, it dawned on me I used some quotes that some people might want, and I do have some notes that will be included in the minutes of the meeting. So if you want to use or refer back to some of this information or quotes, we'll have that available to you. But these remarks from US President Woodrow Wilson have stuck with me for many years, and I try to think of them often and guide me. You are not here merely to make a living. You are here to enable the world to live more amply, with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world, and you impoverish yourself if you forget the errand. We need you to lead. Decide today to use your influence for a worthwhile cause that will indeed enrich the world. Thank you.